world? Established Rich coming right back at you. I'ma say this right now. This situation is exactly why people start questioning the maturity of hip-hop. We got grown men pushing 40 and 50, still talking about women from the 90s like they in the high school cafeteria. And the woman they was talking about is Brandy, a grown woman with a legacy and a child that don't need this type of attention. Now, this all started on a podcast with Mase, Camron, and Shyne. And instead of having a real conversation, it turned into them laughing and joking about their past relationship with her.
What happened with Brandy and everything?
Man.
Let's just do it.
That's my glass.
You know what happened?
We going.
There was
Mase, you was dating Brandy at one time, or y'all was just, how'd it go?
I was special, you know. He came in and wanted to be special. So I had to let him be special.
I mean, no lies told.
Yeah,
he was Shaq.
Okay.
He was the champion. He was the MVP.
Right.
I was Kobe, no pun intended, because they said Kobe was a special friend of Brandy's as well.
Right.
But I had no idea. So what happened is we had a mutual friend who was a snitch.
Okay.
So I think he know who it is.
Right.
I'm not gonna expose him.
Right.
But so I was so excited because this is my dream person.
Right. Talk about Brandy.
Brandy. I'm a
Right.
poor kid, Brooklyn, watching MTV, watching Moesha, watching her on BET. And, you know, as a dream, I'm like, man, if she was to know Shyne,
Right.
I got that.
Right.
So when I came up, she was in the crosshairs. Like, I was sniping.
Right.
And, yeah, I had no idea though, because
Right.
he was special.
Right.
So he was running that playbook
Right.
so discreetly, so quietly. I had no idea.
Yeah,
but I was so excited.
Right.
So I kept telling one of our mutual friends, and he was snitching me out. And then so Brandy was like, yo, who you told you here?
Right.
How so-and-so know that you here with me right now? And I'm like, oh, man.
Right.
So yeah.
That's what's up.
Now, after watching that, you gotta ask yourself a real question. When does a man grow out of that? Because this ain't storytelling, this ain't reflection, this ain't even entertainment done right. This is gossiping. And it's coming from men who are old enough to know better. Especially when you're talking about somebody who ain't even present to defend themselves. And what made it even worse wasn't the comments. It was the energy, the laughing, the joking. Like, it was all being treated like it was nothing. And that's the part that felt disrespectful to me. Because you're not just talking about a name, you're talking about a real person with a real life. Now, let's talk about Shyne for a second. Because this is the part that don't sit right with me. This is a man who stepped away from hip-hop and built a political career. This is a man who positioned himself as somebody who was above this type of conversation.
In a stunning upset, yesterday Moses Shyne Barrow suffered a crushing defeat at the polls to businessman Lee Mark Chang.
That I was having with the people, but they've made a decision to go in another direction, and I respect that.
But the minute things don't go his way in that world, now he back in hip-hop mode. Now he back in interviews. Now he back around the same energy he distanced himself from. And not only are you back, you coming back talking about a woman from over 20 years ago, like that's still relevant today. And it just came off as disingenuous. Because if you really evolved, if you really grew, that shouldn't even be a conversation that you entertain. You should be better than that. And then you got Mase and Camron sitting there laughing like it's comedy. And at some point, you gotta ask yourself if the laughs are covering up the fact that the conversation is about nothing. Because there was nothing gained from that. No insight, no growth, no value. Just three grown men revisiting old situations like it still matter. And then here come RayJ. And you already know what time it is when he come in the chat.
Nigga, all three of y'all is like the Three Stooges, nigga. And y'all looking real attractive. So when I see y'all niggas, y'all better not have that skirt on, nigga. Y'all better pull y'all panties up. You know what I'm saying? For real. I see y'all. I know where y'all at. I know where y'all at. Y'all be slipping too in Vegas, walking around the wind, acting like y'all winning. Nigga get some money and have to do 5,000 shows. Hoe ass niggas. Give you a venereal, nigga. Blood on everything, bro. I give these niggas a venereal disease that they ain't never had before. I tattoo the fuck out these niggas, blood. Bend y'all niggas over, bro. Hit y'all from the back like this, nigga. Fucking punks. Where Bussy Baby? Where back shots? Y'all come in and get some too, nigga. Yeah, nigga. Come in and get some of this. Get some of this Camron ass.
Now after watching that, you see exactly why this situation went from bad to worse. Because instead of defending his sister with class, he turned it into a full-blown meltdown. And this is what we all know. He ain't helped her. He embarrassed her. He embarrassed his family. He embarrassed himself. Because now the focus ain't even on what was said about her. The focus is on how he responded. And that's the problem. Because now you took a situation where she was disrespected and you shifted the spotlight away from that and put it on yourself. And that's why Brandy's response was so important. Because Brandy came out and made it clear that what they were saying was not true. She said straight up that her relationship with Shyne was platonic and that this narrative was being twisted years later for no reason. And that right there should have been the end of it. But it also showed something else. It showed that people will tell your story however they want if you don't speak on it yourself. And that's why she says she's dropping her book. Because at some point, you get tired of people playing with your name. And the most important part of her statement was this. She said she don't need defending. She said she clearly did not ask RayJ to do none of that. She also made it clear that she did not support how he handled it. Because there's a difference between protecting somebody and making a situation worse. And in this case, he made it worse. And all of this started from something that didn't need to be said in the first place. Which brings us right back to the original question. When do men grow up? When do they stop going back 20 years just to have something to talk about today? And when do they realize that everything don't need to be said just because you got a microphone in front of you? Because until that happens, you're going to keep saying the same thing. This really is not about one podcast or one conversation. It's about a pattern. And the first person you got to call out is Shyne. Because you can't present yourself one way to the world and then turn around and move completely different when you get back in a familiar space. You went from politics and leadership to sitting around joking about a woman from 20 years ago. That ain't growth. That's regression. If you really evolved, certain conversations don't even interest you anymore. You don't find that type of talk entertaining, and you definitely don't participate in it. But the moment you was around Cam and Mase, it was like none of that mattered. And that's what makes people question what was real and what was just a phase. Now let's talk about Mase and Camron, because laughing through conversations don't make it better. It actually makes it worse. At some point, somebody in the room has to be an adult. At some point, somebody has to say, this ain't even necessary. But nobody did. And that's why it turned into what it turned into. Because when everybody in the room is comfortable being immature, the conversation never elevates. It just stayed low. And that's exactly what we saw. Now, back to RayJ. Because this is where things really got out of control. This was his moment to show growth. This was his moment to defend his sister in a way that actually protected her. And instead, he turned it into a crash out. Let's call it what it is. That type of person don't make people take you serious. It makes them look at you different. Because now you're not even addressing the issue. You just add more chaos to it. And that's been the pattern. Emotion over control, reaction over strategy. And when you move like that consistently, people start expecting it. And that's not a good place to be in. Because now your name don't come with respect. It comes with anticipation of when you gonna crash out next. And that's exactly why Brandy had to step in, with class. She didn't raise her voice. She didn't disrespect nobody. She just corrected the story. And that's power. She made it clear that what they were saying was not true. She also made it clear that she did not need anybody speaking up for her. And that's how you handle that. You don't add to the noise, you cut through it. And that's the difference between maturity and reaction. Now, when you step back and look at this whole situation, it really comes down to one thing: accountability. Accountability for what you say, accountability for how you represent yourself, and accountability for how you handle situations when they come back to you. Because everybody involved had a choice. They could have kept the conversation respectful. They could have avoided it completely. They could have handled their responses differently, but they didn't. And now this is the result. A situation that didn't need to exist then turned into a public mess. And the only person who really moved correct through all of it was Brandy. Because at the end of the day, this is not about who can talk the most. It's about who can move the smartest. And that's the real lesson in all of this. Everybody don't need to speak on everything. And just because you got a platform don't mean you should use it for anything. But hey, that's just my opinion. What's yours? Like, comment, subscribe. Established Rich. I'll be back with another one. Peace.